So good evening, guys, everyone. Right. Online participants, very good evening. Yeah, very good evening, guys. So any doubts from the last session? Clear? Crystal clear? Okay, right then. So I think the topic itself, something that we discussed is constraints, right? So what are constraints, guys? Hmm? Rules and regulations that we need to follow while creating a table. So let's do the quick recap of yesterday's session and we'll try to proceed with today's topic. Can you explain on how constraints will be useful to retrieve the data? See, for retrieval purpose, not that great extent itself is directly affected. But while you are trying to focus on searching the data for duplicate records, you might be getting some issues while importing, retrieving it. So there, these connections will help you out. Primary key. Because there primary keys, these things, again, you will be going with this concept called index also, which is something that we are going to cover in the next days. So with these things, retrieval speed makes little more sense. Clustered and clustered indexes. Okay, anyhow, let's focus on this topic now. Voice is not audible. Online participants, am I audible? Is it clear? It's good. Okay. So maybe for one student, it's not clear. Guy, if in case, just check your internet connectivity. Right. So we discussed with a topic called constraints, and constraints itself is nothing but rules and regulations that we need to follow while creating a table. So as far as constraints are concerned, rules and regulations, we are having 6 different types of constraints available. The one type of constraint, we call it with the name primary key, foreign key, unique key, check, default, and not null. Primary key is the key which will not accept null values and it will not accept duplicates. Foreign key is the key which will accept both null values as well as duplicates. Unique key is the key which will not accept duplicates, but it will accept null values. Check constraint is checking the validity condition. If it's matching, I can insert. If it is not matching, I cannot insert. Default is the type of constraint we are assigning a value default. Okay, default value. Not null. This particular constraint will not accept null value, but it can accept duplicate records. So these are all the 6 different types of constraints that we are having. Among this thing, the one different type of constraint that we haven't discussed is foreign key. And that is something we need to do it with 2 tables that we'll try to discuss. Today, we'll go with one more important topic and at the same point of time, very interesting topic called TCL, guys. TCL. Anyone remembered on the very first day we discussed about there are 5 different types of command languages available. What are those command languages? DDL, DML, TQL, TCL, TCL. As far as DDL is concerned, we are having create, drop, alter, rename, truncate. DML, insert, update, delete. TQL, select. DCL, grant, revoke. TCL, transactional control language. we are having something called commit, rollback, save point. As far as DDL is concerned, I hope you're pretty much clear with this. All these things. DML, DQL, still not completed. DQL still portion is there. We need to cover. DCL is something, as I explained on the very first day, we are not proceeding with this. We are not going to do this. Database administrators are going to be there to do this particular task. Window functions are again coming in DQL only. Select. That is the reason I mentioned still DQL portion is there. So DCL grant revoke. And now today our agenda is to focus on this particular topic called transactional control language. TCL stands for transactional control language. We are having 3 available keywords in it, statements in it, commit, rollback, save point. So topic itself is going to be again very interesting, guys. Something similar to your constraints topic that you utilized yesterday. It's interesting, but little confusing. Okay, not confusing. If you're not understanding the concept, it's a little confused. So try to put your utmost concentration. You'll enjoy the subject. Okay. Subqueries again in DQL. TCL. TCL stands for transactional control language. Guys, I'll try to explain the same concept in the most easiest way possible again with a flow diagram, diagrammatic representation. Try to understand. On the very first day, I explained you why we need to learn SQL. Anyone remembered with one simple diagram? Database management system, database, and user is going to connect the tables, right? Now, user is the user connects with database management system with the help of writing some SQL queries. And now database management system itself is connected with database. Now database itself is again connected back to database management system, and database management system is connected to user so that user can access the data. What is available in database directly with the help of DBMS. Here, what is going to happen is auto commit equals to on. I hope it's clear. What is auto commit? On. Auto commit equals to on in the sense if you are doing anything automatically you are going to commit that action. Here one more important part that you need to focus on, guys, everyone. While you are working with transactional control language, data manipulation language is mandatory. I hope it's clear. Earlier we utilized a language called DML. We utilized something called insert, update and delete. There, while we are working with data manipulation language, we haven't worked with TCL. It's fine, well and good. But while you're working with TCL, DML is mandatory. That is what I'm trying to conclude. That means if you are working with any transactional control language command like commit, rollback, save point, make sure you are parallelly working with your insert, update, delete as well. That is what you need to focus on. Now, what are the conclusions that we can focus on? See, if you are focusing more on statements, data manipulation language statements in itself, the main task, the main thing that we all need to focus more on is while inserting the data. See, I'm not talking about TCL. Directly, if you are utilizing data manipulation language without TCL, guys, if you are inserting records, those records are directly connected to your database. If you are updating anything, those updations are directly affecting your database. If you are deleting something, directly those updations are being affecting to your database. Yes or no? See, if you are deleting two records from the table, and if you are searching for the table select star from table name, the two records are not going to be there. That is nothing but auto commit equals to on. So for example, you are updating the data like update table name set age equals to this. Immediately what is going to happen when you are executing select star from table name? The age is going to change there. Age is going to convert. Yes or no? So here what I'm trying to conclude is whatever the updations that you are doing, either updating the data, either deleting the data or inserting the data without transactional control language, auto commit equals to on. That means it is directly affecting your database like this. If you are inserting something like this, it is connected to DBMS, DBMS is connected to database. But now what is going to happen while you're working with transactional control languages? You are going to insert some records. Now these records are being connected with database management system. Earlier what happened? DBMS is directly connected to database. Yes or no? Earlier, database management system is directly connected to database. But now this DBMS is not going to be connected with database guys directly. Now this DBMS database management system itself is something going to connect with buffer. This in itself we call it with the name buffer place or temporary cache memory. And now whatever the option that you are utilizing, commit or rollback, now the data itself is going to be affected to database. That means if you are inserting or updating or deleting some data, what usually happens is database management system is not directly connected to database guys. Now whatever the data that you are trying to insert or update or delete, instead of directly connecting it with database, now these things have been connected to buffer plus cache memory. Now here if you are providing something called commit or rollback, if you are committing an action, you will be redirected to database. If you are not committing that action, if you are rollbacking it, you will come back and you will not go to database. For your easy understandability, I'll try to explain in a simple way. Take an example called OTP, one time password. So when you're working with OTP, what usually happens? If you want to transact 5,000 rupees to your friend, you want to send 5,000 rupees to your friend. You know the purpose behind it, right? Why you are sending 5,000 rupees? But still bank will provide you with one OTP. If you are entering that OTP, then only the transaction itself is going to be validated. If you are not entering that OTP, transaction denied, right? If you are entering that OTP, it is nothing, but you are committing that action, commit. If you are not entering that OTP or you are entering the wrong OTP, it's nothing, but you don't want to commit that action, roll back. So depending upon your requirement, whether you need to commit or whether you need to roll back, you need to consider taking a case there. And that is how this concept works. Clear guys, everyone? Right. Simple requirement. Earlier, without transactional control language, data itself has been connected to database management system. Database management system is directly connected to database. That is the reason here we call it with an option auto commit equals to on. But here user is connected to database management system. Database management system is connected with buffer place. If you are committing it, then only you are going to database. If you are not committing, you will go to back. So here what usually happens is auto commit equals to off. Clear everyone? So based upon that requirement, you can start working on this, doing this. As simple as it. Okay. If you want to do a task, just utilize, do the task. If you don't want to, roll back it. As simple as it. Okay. Provide me some other extra points that you can have include as far as TCL is concerned. I'll give you 2 more minutes. In this Google it, you can update me. What are the input values, the things that you can focus on? There is one more topic called acid properties. While you're researching about it, I getting that point, acid properties, ACID. Hmm. Atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability. Then let's try to cover this part. What we are going to discuss here again. commit, rollback, save point. As I explained you, whatever the data that you are trying to insert or update or delete, those things are going to be first reflected to buffer plus. That means from database management system to buffer or cache memory. And from there, if you are committing that action, you will be redirected to database. And in case if you are rollbacking it, the data itself will come back. This is what usually happens, commit or rollback. If you are committing it, you'll commit that action. If you roll back it, you'll roll back that operation. You'll come back. Now, simple thing is, if you are without utilizing TCL, if you are inserting the data directly into database, you'll be recording that insertion. With TCL, if you are inserting the data directly to database, it will not go. First, it will go to buffer. Then if you are committing it, then it will go. Without TCL, if you are deleting a record, by default in database, you are deleting that record. But with TCL, if you are deleting the record, it will not permanently delete in database. Temporarily, it will delete. If you are committing it, then it permanently it has been affected. Let's try to utilize the same thing practically so that you will get even more clean understanding. Try to understand one thing when we are working with transactions. First thing first, you need to focus on one thing. If you want to start any transaction, syntax goes like start transaction. If you want to end any transaction, you just need to convey something called commit or rollback, not both, any one. Once again, I'm repeating, if you want to start any transaction, start transaction. If you want to end any transaction, commit or rollback, anything is fine. Now, here what we are going to discuss more effectively is, with the help of MySQL, we'll discuss. While we are working with transactions, it's something not relating like debit credit kind of thing. It is something more inclined towards a status of operation, that how you are going to approach it. I'll provide you the practical part so that you'll understand. Now, let's try to discuss this concept. TCL, Transactional Control Language. We are having three available keywords in it: commit, rollback, save point. Now, yesterday we worked with one table called employees table, I guess, right? Let's try to discuss that part. Select star from EMP1. Customers, okay, fine, anything. Just for reference, we'll go with this table. Employee 1 table. 3 columns are there. Employee ID, employee name, age, these are the 3 columns available in the table. And these are the data points available in it. Chalo, fine, well and good. Now, I want to insert one record into the table. Okay, provide me the syntax. Insert into EMP1 values. What are the values? 3, name, C, age, so for example 28, semicolon. Now simply select this entire code. Simple requirement. I'm inserting one record. Just tell me one thing. This is the record that we are inserting with help of TCL or without TCL? Without TCL. If you are inserting this particular record without TCL, what is the status of auto commit? On. As I explained you earlier, if you are not working with transactional control language, auto commit equals to on. If you are working with transactional control language, auto commit equals to off. Why off? data is not directly shifted to database. It is going to buffer place, middle. There, if you are committing, you will go to buffer database. If not, come back. So now I inserted this record or not? Yes. Auto commit equals to on or off? On. Now, when you are executing this syntax, whether this record is going to be affected in this table or not? Obviously, yes. Why? Because the status of auto commit equals to on. Automatically, this record itself has been inserted into the table. Fine. Well and good. Now, I just want to insert one more record, but not without TCL, but with TCL I want to insert. So what I'm going to do here, first thing first, if I want to insert that record with TCL, first thing first, I need to start the transaction, right? What is the syntax to start the transaction? Start transaction. Currently, what is the status of auto commit? I haven't executed. What is the current status of auto commit? On, right? On, right? Now I'm just executing this particular code. Now update me what is the status of auto commit? Off. I just explained you. Once we are starting the transaction, data will go to buffer place, not to database. If it is directly going to buffer instead of database, it is auto commit off. So you started the transaction, auto commit equals to off. Now I want to insert the record. Insert into EMP1 values. And what are the values? 4, D, and so for example 29. Select this entire code. Just run it. And once you inserted this particular record into the table EMP1, then just try to select it. This is with the help of TCL. Try to understand that one thing. This is something with the help of TCL. Now, as I explained you, this is something we are inserting into buffer. Now this record is there in buffer place or database? Buffer place. Now, if you want to make sure this particular record need to go to database, what you need to do? You need to commit that action, right? Simply commit it. Execute it. Now, what I explain you, if you want to end the transaction, commit or roll back. Now tell me what is the status of auto commit again? On. You ended the transaction. Once you ended the transaction, auto commit equals to on. Now let's try to execute this syntax. Select star from EMP1. Are you getting this record, guys? Why you are getting this record? You committed that action. Now let's try to utilize one more time. What is the current status of auto commit? Now I'll be starting a transaction. Start transaction. Now here itself, I'll try to insert a record, insert into EMP1 values 30. Now this record is there in database or buffer place? Buffer, right? Now I'll try to provide something called rollback. What does this rollback meaning? Come back, undo. So for example, I knowingly or unknowingly I inserted one particular employee related details into the table. After some point of time, I came to know that this employee itself is not there. Definitely, I'm not supposed to insert this record. So instead of this, I'm now utilizing something called rollback. Now, if you are utilizing rollback, you ended the transaction, right? Now, if you ended the transaction, what is the status of auto commit? On. Now, when you are executing this particular code called select star from EMP1, now whether you will be getting the table, guys, you will be getting that record called 5 triple E 30. No, you will not get that record. Why you will not get that record? You roll back it, right? Earlier you inserted the record and you committed that action. So that in output permanently database you are getting the table record. But here you inserted the record. After some point of time you came to know that you are not supposed to insert that record. Immediately you roll back it. Immediately you roll back in the sense automatically you are not inserting that record into database. I hope it's clear, guys, everyone. Concept itself is simple. Don't complicate it. You are going to start the transaction. You are working with your insert or update or delete. And then finally you'll end the transaction. Simple enough. Okay. Chalo. Now, as I explained you, while you're working with transactional control language, you need to work with data manipulation language. So insert we utilized. Now let's go with something called update. But we all know while you're working with update and delete, we need to utilize the syntax called set SQL safe updates equals to 0. Now you can start working on it. Now what is the table that we are utilizing? EMP1. Chalo, 4 records are there. My requirement is very simple, guys. I just want to update the age of employee ID 4 from age 29 to 31. Provide me the syntax. Update table name. What is the table name? EMP1. Okay, update table name set age equals to 31 where employee ID equals to 4, right? For employee ID 4, I want to change the age. Semicolon, execute it. Now, if you are trying to execute the syntax called select star from EMP1, value got updated or not? Why automatically the value is updating? Here you are not working with TCL. If you are not working with TCL, auto commit equals to on. Auto commit equals to on in the sense automatically you are committing that action. That is the reason value directly changed. But you want to add an extra layer of protection. If you are accepting it, then only want to proceed further. Then you need to go with TCL. Chalo, now I'll try to update the data with the help of TCL, transactional control language. Same thing again. First thing first, I'll go with the syntax part. Then I'll try to go with one simple understanding here. I'll try to convert the age of that employee triple C. I'll update the age for that employee name triple C from 28 to 38. Clear? But with transaction. Provide me the syntax. Tell me first thing first, we are in the transaction or we are out of the transaction? That means what is the status of auto commit? On. I want to start the transaction. Syntax of transaction. Start transaction. Okay, fine. Now I executed it. Update me what is the syntax of auto commit? Auto commit status. On or off? Off. Now whatever the updations that you are doing, those things are going to buffer, not to database. Now what I want to update here? I just want to update the value age 28 to 38 for employee ID triple C. That means employee ID 3. So here update employee 1 table set age equals to 38. If you are not putting where clause, what is going to happen? For all the values, all the employees age is going to change. But I only want employee ID 3. So where employee ID equals to 3. semicolon, select this entire code and just simply run it. Now I want to end the transaction with rollback. Now update me what is the current status of auto commit. On. You are in the transaction or you are out of the transaction? Out of the transaction. Now guys, everyone try to tell me one thing. What is going to be the value of age for student, so for employee 3? 28. Why not 38? We roll back the data. So once if you are executing the syntax employee 1, again you will get that same value 28. Why? Because you roll back it. But now let's try to utilize the same thing one more time. Again, I'll try to start the transaction. Auto commit status is off. Now I'm utilizing this particular syntax. I'm updating the value. Now instead of commit, I'll go with something called commit. Instead of rollback, I'll go with commit. Now once you're committing or rollbacking, it's nothing but you're ending the transaction. If you're ending the transaction, in the sense you're coming out of the transaction. If you're coming out of the transaction, in the sense auto commit equals to on again. Now if you're executing select star from table name. Now tell me what is the value for student employee 3? Are you getting 38 now? And this is how this concept works. Clear guys? Now let's go with delete 2. As I explained you, TCL completely works with DML. Insert update we cleared. Now let's go with delete part. If my requirement is, I just want to delete 4th employee details from this particular table. Okay, I just want to delete that employee ID 4. Syntax, delete from table name where employee ID equals to 4. That's it, right? Now if you are selecting this syntax and executing this code, automatically you are going to delete that record. If you are utilizing select star from table name, that record itself has been deleted. Why automatically record is deleted? Here auto commit equals to on, right? You are not working with TCL. Got my point? Now let's try to delete. Let's try to play with this delete option with TCL now. Again, I want to start the transaction. I just want to delete employee ID 3. Syntax goes like delete from employee table 1 where employee ID equals to 3. Select this entire code and now I'll be utilizing something called rollback. Now just tell me one thing, how many rows are going to be there in your table? 3 rows. Earlier 3 rows are there. You deleted the 3rd record. You are supposed to get 2 records, but immediately you are not committing that action. Instead, you are going with rollback. So automatically you are coming first again. So you will not get the data again. So once if you are utilizing something called select star from EMP1, still you will be getting the same 3 records of data. You deleted this record, but immediately you roll back it. That is the reason you will be getting the data back. Chalo, now I want to delete it with commit. Again, I'll start the transaction. Now I'll try to delete this record called employee ID 3. And now instead of rollback, now I'll go with something called commit. Select this entire code and just click on execute. And now how many rows you are getting in the output, guys? 2 rows. And this is how this commit and rollback concept works. I hope it's clear, everyone. So just quickly check this out. We'll go with something called save point 2. So offline participants, sorry, online, I'll be providing the same in the chat. You can take a reference. Yeah. That is only drawback for offline, kada? Online they can get that access. Offline, nah. Done, completed. Okay. So offline doing still. Transaction itself is nothing but Akshaya. What usually happens is if you want to perform one particular task, there needs to be something like atomicity, there needs to be something like consistency, there needs to be something like isolation, and there needs to be something like durability. So these are the four things that we are working in asset properties in the next topic. So while you are working with any transaction, transaction itself is nothing but it is something like a process. It's not something relating to currency, not like that. It is something like it's a transaction, simple transaction, the process where you want to perform a commit action or don't want to commit that action, rollback process. Less frequently. This is the topic that you are going to utilize almost minimal, less frequently. Okay. The main thing, that is what I'm telling. The main part that you'll be focusing on the topic is only DQL. You'll not go with DDL, you'll not use your DML. And TCL is something you'll rarely utilize. The only topic you will focus on every day is DQL only. For every particular transaction, you need to, if you're, that is a topic, asset properties, ACID, isolation. Each and every transaction needs to be isolated with other transaction. You cannot connect multiple transactions in the same way. This is a different transaction. This is a different transaction. For this, if you are committing it, for the other part also, you need either commit or roll back. Both you cannot mix. The mandatory. And last, ACID, asset D, durability. That is also important. D stands for nothing should be there in buffer place after transaction. Either you need to go to database or either it need to come here. Why? Because a serious problem is there. You are you started the transaction, you inserted some records, but you're not ending the transaction. You're not mentioning commit or rollback. Now the other person is trying to continue that code, but that person is not aware that you are working with TCL. Now, if they're trying to insert, update, delete something, they might think that those things are directly affecting database. But those things are going to database buffer place. So to avoid those kind of complications also, you need to either commit or rollback. Done. Okay, everyone completed. Now, let's try to go with, can you please provide info which type of SQL application most companies use in real world? So here you are having one more simple concept called save point. So what does this save point mean? What does this save point mean? Save point itself is nothing but saving till one particular point. See, earlier you inserted 10 records or 20 records. Earlier you inserted 10 records or 20 records. Now, if you want to play with one record or two record, you are going with commit or rollback. But if you want to commit or roll back till some set of rows, 4 rows or 10 rows or 20 rows, then got my point? Earlier, you inserted a record and you want to commit it or roll back it. It's okay, fine, well and good. But you want to put a save point in middle. You want to save till one particular point. 10 rows are there. 4 rows, 1 point, 4 rows, 1 point, like that. Every 4 rows, 5 rows, I want to put one save point. And till that particular point only, I want to perform commit or rollback operations. So there you will use this concept called save point. Saving till one particular point. Say for example, I'll go with one simple table here. Here itself, okay, well, let's go with one simple table called one column only. The table itself is something relating to letters. Create table letters. The table name itself is letters. And here I'll be trying to add some values. And first I'll go with the column name. Column name is letter. And the data type itself is something char of 1. Why I'm proceeding char of 1? Letter A, B, C, D. That's it. Simple requirement, semicolon, execute. Now, table itself has been created. After creating a table, what you need to do? You need to insert the records. Now, I just want to insert the records into the table. Insert into letters, values. So here, what I'll be doing is, here itself, I'll just start the transaction, guys. Start transaction. Now here, after starting the transaction, I just want to insert some values, including save points too. Start insert into letters, values, and what are the values? First, I'll go with something called A. Now, what I'll be doing is I'll just copy paste the same multiple times. Okay. And I'm just trying to change the values out there. A, B, C, D, E, F. Now, after A and B, I'm just trying to provide one save point to call save point SB. After C and D, I'll try to provide one save point to call save point SD. Because after D, right? Like this, I just want to insert some save points. After some values, just providing a point that you are saving till that point, you consider it as save point. Now, row start transaction we already executed. That means we're in the transaction. Now let's try to insert record by record. I'll try to insert A, then I'll insert B, save point SB. I'll try to insert C, and then I'll try to insert D, save point SD. I'll try to insert E, and then I'll try to insert F. Okay. Now you inserted multiple rows including save points too. Now here my requirement is I just want to roll back till SD data point. What does it mean? What are all the rows that are been there above to that it's okay. Down to that I don't want any of the data. Roll back to SD. Now how many rows you are going to get? 4 rows. Got my point? That means till that point you remove. Now save point SB is something that you are putting after letters A and B, right? So here what I'm doing is roll back to SD, SB. Now how many rows you are going to get, guys? 2 rows. 2 rows you will be getting. Now again, once if you are trying to roll back to SD, whether it will work? It will not work. SD roll back to SD already completed. So once if you are doing it, it will not work. Now just tell me one thing, guys. We are in the transaction or we are out of the transaction? Out of the transaction. So here we are still in the transaction. Earlier I explained you once you are committing it or rollbacking it, you are ending the transaction. Here we are committing or rollbacking, but we are not using commit or rollback. We are using something called commit to save point, rollback to save point. Commit to save point, rollback to save point is different. Commit rollback is different. Here you are just doing that rollback to save point only. If you want to again manually come out of the transaction, again you need to mention rollback or commit. Here I'll provide something called commit. That means what are the rollback process that I have initiated in my transaction, and finally what are the resultant data that with 2 records are there, let it include 2 records only. Now if you are executing the syntax called commit, now the data itself is committed. Now if you are utilizing the syntax called select star from letters, now you will be getting only those 2 records. Now tell me what is the status of auto commit, on or off? Now it's on. Why? Because you ended the transaction. And this is how the concept works. And this in itself, we call it with an option called save point. Clear, guys? And here itself, a small topic is there called asset properties. Asset properties itself is nothing but atomicity, consistency, isolation, and then durability. Isolation and durability. Atomicity itself is nothing but all the transactions that what you are trying to initiate, it needs to be executed as a one single atomic unit. Okay. Atomicity is nothing but whatever the commands that you are utilizing, all these commands need to be utilized as a single unit, atomic unit, one time go operation. Everything you need to utilize it for the first time. C, consistency stands for the transaction needs to be something consistent. See, for your understanding, let me give you one simple example. If a user is transacting 5,000, you are having your bank account balance 10,000, your friend account balance is having something called 0. Now you are sending 5,000 to your friend account. What is the available balance in your account? 5,000. 5,000 debited, right? But in your friend's account, instead of having 0, 5,000. Why? Because 5,000 credited, right? This is consistent transaction. Inconsistent transaction in the sense, Same use case, you are having 10,000, your friend 0 rupees, you are transacting 5,000. In your case, your bank balance is 5,000. Why? Because debited. But in your friend's account, it's not credited. It is still reflecting as 0. Inconsistent transaction. So when you're working with C, asset properties, C stands for consistency. Transaction needs to be something consistent in nature. And then finally, I, isolation. What does this isolation mean? One transaction should be something completely isolated with the other transaction. If you are working with one transaction, that is not interfering with other transaction. If you are starting the transaction, end the transaction, then only go and start with other transaction. Within one transaction, you cannot put another transaction. Isolated unit. And D stands for durability. What does this durability mean? I just explained you, whatever the data that is being stored here in TCL is going to be the buffer place first. If you are committing it, you need to go to database. If you are rollbacking it, it needs to come back. But here, durability is nothing but nothing should be included in your buffer place finally. Why? As I explained you just now, example. You are inserting the records with the help of TCL. That means the data is going to be available in buffer place. And your colleague is working with, without knowing that you are working with TCL, he might or she might think the data is going to database directly. But no, that is going to buffer place. That's again a huge problem, right? So buffer place, nothing should be there. Once the transaction should be ended its remains, nothing should be there in buffer place, that we call it as durability. What does it mean? If you are starting a transaction, you need to end the transaction. That means either definitely you need to click on commit or rollback. That is what. This is nothing but atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability. It is nothing relating to formula, no syntax, nothing. It's just the theoretical topic. That's it. These are the things that you need to focus on while you're working with transactions. Simple. Okay, just check this out with save point. You have any name that you can give. Save point is A, save point is B, right? Save point is the pure syntax, blue color, keyword. But here SB is the name that you are providing. Any name that you can provide. But this is something you need to provide save point. Nothing. Save point syntax is mandatory keyword. Save point name, you see, create table, table name. Whatever the table name you can. Create database, database name. Database name, your name. Save point name. Save point name, it's up to you. Okay, I provided the same syntax in the chat, guys. Online participants, check this out. Guys, if any doubts, you can ask, guys, online participants. Okay, right, Alam. Yes, Siddhant. Say a point for a number. Character, string. Practical use in the sense, asset property itself is nothing but it's just a kind of methodology. How you are going to work with these options. That's it. If you're working with a transaction, what are the set of things that you need to focus on so that you are going to execute a correct transaction? Atomicity is nothing but whatever the commands that you are utilizing, all the list of commands need to be executed in a single go. It's not like one time I'll execute after some time. No, in a single go, you need to complete the process, commands. Consistency is nothing but, Tanusha, transaction needs to be something consistent. If left side something is adding, in right side something needs to be subtracted. In left side something is subtracted, in right side something needs to be added. Connection should be established meaningfully. As I explained you, transaction, if you are sending some amount to your friend, in your account it is debited, in your friend's account it is credited, it's fine. But in your account it is debited, in your friend's account it is not credited, that is why we call it as inconsistent transaction. Just like we use select and upgrade to make changes in the database, is there any way to use asset property to make changes as well? See, it's more of theoretical understanding, guys. It's a methodology. If you are you are working with commit rollback and save point only. That's it. But these are something like rules that you need to follow while you are performing transaction. It guides you how to perform a correct transaction. It explains you how to perform a correct transaction. It just provides you the inputs how to perform an exact correct transaction. That's clear, guys, everyone? Today's topic, any doubts still? It's clear? Okay, great. Offline participants, everyone clear? I'll upload now itself. Okay, guys, I just provided you the today's notes TCL script file as well in your Google Classroom. So you can just take that reference out there. Today's file. Okay. So then, yeah, that's all about for today. So let's continue tomorrow with something, a new topic. Let's try to go with something, we'll proceed with window functions, guys. Yes, yes, Vijay. Tomorrow we'll go with window functions topic. A very interesting topic, very useful topic, very, 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 very advanced topic. Important, so much. Okay. So window functions is something we'll try to discuss tomorrow. In your case, just focus on it and update, research about it. Okay. Yeah, Bindu, yes, Vijay, but we might be having a session. Okay, right? Okay, then, guys, everyone, good night. Let's connect tomorrow then. Okay. Bye, guys. Yeah, good night, Vijay. Good night, Soumya. Right. Right. Bye, Bhargavi. Good night, Krishna, Suman, Charan, Anusha. Bye, guys.